Alright guys, so as you can see from the title, I've got something a little bit controversial here, I guess. I'm not going to get into the whole background and like the branding of Filippo Loreti. I'll let other channels do that. I'm sure other channels have done it far better than I could. I'm just going to do what I always do. I'm going to review the watch, honestly, let you know what I actually think of it, whether I think it's any good, regardless of branding and all that kind of stuff. Is the watch any good? So I haven't been collecting that long. The channel hasn't really been going, I think it's not even a year yet. It's been going about 8 months or something like that. So my knowledge of watches in general isn't that great. I don't claim to be an expert, don't claim to have a vast knowledge. As you'll know from a lot of my videos, I tend to predominantly do AliExpress watches, with a few micro brands thrown in here and there. So I'm going to be coming at it from that kind of angle, seeing how it compares to that, and ultimately deciding whether these watches are as bad as people say, or if people are just taking into account more the branding kind of side of it, and that's why people aren't liking these watches. So without waffling on anymore, let's get down into it. So this is the box it comes in, and inside that we have another box. So get that out of the way. And this is the main box. So it's actually quite nicely done. So as you can see, I've got the, I'm going to call it Okeanos, could be Okeanos, I don't know, but quite a nice box with the branding on, design of the watch on top. I'm assuming depending on which watch you get, that will reflect the watch, could be wrong. And that's the watch itself, but we'll quickly put that to one side and just show you what else you get in here. So if we lift that out, oddly it did actually come with the extra links wrapped, so they weren't attached to the watch, so you didn't have to remove them, which is actually quite a nice touch, to be honest. So it was sized more or less for my 7-inch wrist. I had to take out one extra link, and then other than that we get branded cleaning cloth, nice little welcome message, and then in the bottom of here as well there is an instruction manual, but I'm not going to bother with that, because if you don't know what you're doing with a watch when it's only a simple one like this, then you've got some serious issues. But anyway, getting that out of the way, just take the watch off and we'll get right down to it. So before we get into this properly, I'm just going to quickly say as well, at the moment there is a sale on the Filippo Loreti site, so if you do want to pick one of these up, I'll leave a link down in the description. That isn't a discount code for me or anything particular, it's just a sale they have on the site, but just thought I'd make you aware of it. Oh, just thought as well, before I get any further, as you probably noticed at the beginning of the video, it came up with the paid promotion. I haven't been paid for this review, but I did receive this watch for free and I don't have to send it back. But as always, that's not going to affect the way I review watches. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to keep it 100% honest all the time, no matter what. Even if that does annoy some of the brands, so be it. Speaking of which, I've got something right off the bat that might possibly annoy them. When they contacted me about reviewing one of their watches, I had a look through their site, picked out a couple of pieces that I found quite interesting. They turned out to be automatic ones. They weren't willing to send me an automatic one, so they gave me a list of quartz pieces they wanted to get reviewed. This was in that list, but also there was a chronograph piece called the Ascari, I think it is. I contacted them, said I was interested in reviewing that one. Then they got back to me and told me that there was a bit of an issue with that chronograph. The fact that it doesn't actually have a second chrono hand. So the chrono function on that is pretty much useless, to be honest. So if you do want to pick up one of their watches, I advise not picking that one up, because why do you want a chrono watch that isn't going to have a chrono second hand? You can't really do a lot with that. To be fair, they were upfront with me about it, but they don't seem to be as clear on the website. So now all that's out of the way, I'm definitely going to get down into what this watch is itself now. Rumbled on for quite a bit, not normally like me, but there's quite a bit of stuff to get in. So, like I say, with this particular watch, as I say, quartz piece, it's actually got the Miyota 2025. So as you can probably also tell as well from the dial, in fact, going to zoom in, we don't have a second hand on this, so it's just a two-hander. So we've just got the minute and hour hand, but I actually quite like that for a quartz piece. I'm not overly keen on the quartz ticking second hand, especially if it's going to be a large one. If it's on a sub dial, not too bad. So I'm kind of glad they went with that. So that's a good thing. Another good thing is this lovely sunburst dial. Really is nice. Another thing I like as well is that we've got applied indices, and then the ones at the 12, 3, 6 and 9 are actually slightly larger than the rest, and as you can see they're also slightly recessed into that chapter ring as well. It just adds an extra little bit of detail, nice touch. Other than that, we've got a fully printed branding, the Filippo Loreti, again I'm sticking with Okeanos at the top. The fact that it's 100 metre water resistant, and that's pretty much it. So pretty clean. We've got a nice large handset as well, both well sized as well, nicely in proportion with the dial, and we've got some nice reflective surfaces on them, on the hands and on the indices, which do catch the light nicely. So again, that's a good thing. While we're zoomed in though, I'll quickly show you something I'm not so keen on, a little bit of a QC issue with my particular one. If you can see this little marker on the bezel here, a little bit of misprint in there, bit of blue gone over that first mark, so a little bit disappointing with that, but it's not a major issue. But as you can see, we are actually nicely aligned with this. So if I quickly zoom back out, I'll show you this bezel action. So it's a 90 click bezel, and absolutely no playback at all, rock solid, which is good. Quite a nice action on it. Like I say, lines up perfectly. It is only an aluminium bezel insert, would have preferred ceramic, but it does look good. But again, ceramic would have been better. As for the case, it's mostly brushed, nicely done. We've got some nice chamfered polished details as well, and as you can see we've also got a sign crown. So it's nothing fancy, but nicely done. Another thing I do like as well, that you don't always get, is female end links. That's always a nice thing to have. So the bracelet just falls down straight, doesn't stick out any further, so the actual lug-to-lug distance is the same as the actual lug-to-lug distance of the case, but I'll show you that in a second. As for the rest of the bracelet, got a nice signed milled clasp. In fact, it's actually signed on the inside as well. If I get it the right way around. Another thing I would have liked slightly different is the micro adjust on this. We've got 2 micro adjusts. I think you could probably do with maybe 1 more, just to be able to get the perfect size. For me, this is a touch too tight on this, and obviously if I had another link in, it's a little bit too tight, a little bit too loose, sorry. So 1 more micro adjust would have been ideal, but it's workable. So hang on, while we've got that open. We've also got a really nice case back on this. I do really like the design on that. Really nicely done. Does look really, really good. And you can probably also see as well, we have actually got a quick release bracelet, which is something I've not had on a bracelet before. So that is a nice touch. If you do want to swap it out for a different strap. And then we've got some pretty basic information on the back. Just the naming. No specs, which I do like. And then we've got a screw down case pack as well. Oh, forgot to mention too, It is just push pins on this bracelet, but they work well. So resizing is easy to do. So seeing as I briefly touched on it, let's get into those measurements. So we'll start with thickness. So I'm getting it just under 13mm, 12.8. On their actual site, they say it's 12, so don't really know how they're getting that. It's a bit thicker than that. And then we've got a diameter of 42mm, lug width of 20mm, and now the all-important lug to lug one, and that's just under 50, so 49.5. So pretty nice dimensions overall. So that's another plus point. So now let's test whether we've got sapphire crystal on this. On the website they actually say that it's a sapphire coated mineral, but we'll see. Using the trusty diamond selector 2. So as you can see, not testing positive for sapphire. So it's at the least mineral glass, possibly sapphire coated. Can't really test that one out. So now let's test out the lume on this. As you can see, actually looking pretty good already, but we'll charge it up, give it a proper chance. And there we go. So as you can see straight away, we don't actually have a lume pip on the bezel, but you're not really going to be using this diving because it is only a push-pull crown, and with it only being 100 metres in a push-pull crown, you're probably not going to want to take it swimming either, to be honest, or maybe just shallow swimming. That's up to you. I wouldn't personally, as I tend to prefer to have a screw down crown when I'm swimming with the watch, just in case. But anyway, as for the lume, as you can see, the rest of it nicely applied, evenly applied. Got quite a bit on those hands because they are nice thick hands, and it is hanging on quite a decent level. Dimming a bit, but it stays this kind of level a decent amount of time, to be honest. So as far as lume's concerned, pretty good. So all it's left to do now is show it on wrist. So this is the watch on my 7-inch wrist, and I think it does actually look quite nice. Fits really nicely. Like I say, would have preferred one more micro adjust on that clasp, but it's workable. And I do like the way the light catches those polished sections on the centre of those links. Just adds a little bit of interest. And I think overall, for what it is, it's a pretty good looking watch. Granted, it's a bit overpriced for what you're getting, with it being cheap quartz movement. You're only getting a aluminium bezel insert, but the finishing and the overall, well yeah, the overall finishing and overall look, I'd say, it's not bad. Would I recommend it over AliExpress watches with automatic movements? Probably not, no. But if you want a quartz piece that's quite good looking, seems to be pretty reliable, decent lume. If you don't mind the branding, then yeah, why not? Everybody has their own different tastes. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Again, if you do want to pick one up, like I say, link will be down in the description. I think there is currently a sale on, or there is at the time of filming this. If you're interested, check it out. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.